Okay, well, let's see how bad this actually gets. This is Mehdi Hasan on Jubilee's Surrounded show. One progressive versus 20 far right conservatives.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like. I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why?
I don't want you here.
I'm Mehdi Hasan.
Okay, so let's just skip to the beginning of this. What's his first claim?
Pro-crime and pro-criminal.
Pro-crime and pro-criminal. Well, that's unequivocally true. Donald Trump has legalized corruption. He legalized on his first day in office, he passed an executive order that said that his cabinet members could participate in corruption with other countries. Within the first week, he pardoned all of the criminals on January 6th, and his main, the hallmark of his second administration is just allowing ICE to illegally arrest and detain people and get rid of all kind of due process. So he's pro-crime in that sense, and also just pardoning people that are corrupt. There was the mother of a CEO that committed medical corruption, basically overcharging doctors and nurses, and then just pocketing the difference of that money. Went to a Donald Trump meal that was like $1 million a plate, and then the next day he pardoned her son. He is the most corrupt person in the history of the world, and even without that corruption, he's still just pro-crime. He just does not care about the rule of law, just blatantly violating laws when it comes to proceduralism, like having to give notice to inspectors general when he fires them, having to get congressional approval to bomb Iran, trying to go through Congress to shut down agencies that they started, like the Department of Education, and he's just trying to end the Department of Education unilaterally himself. He's just having laws is the antithesis of Donald Trump.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Mehdi.
I would just like to ask, what makes someone pro-crime versus, anti-crime?
I think when you're soft on criminals, when you let criminals out of prison, when you pardon people who've assaulted police officers.
That's the simplest thing that you could possibly ask. What makes someone pro-crime? Doing things that helps criminals.
You're pro-criminal. Donald Trump pardoned almost 1,600 people who were involved in January the 6th. I think 600 of them had been charged with assaulting a police officer or obstructing a police officer. 100.
So I'm curious, because there's countless ways that you can talk about how Donald Trump is pro-crime. So I'm kind of curious to see what Mehdi Hasan brings up. So he brings up obviously pardoning the January 6 people. You can talk about international crime here, how Trump has rewarded countries doing illegal actions, like he's rewarded Israel. He's taken off sanctions of settlers that are doing illegal things. Just the existence of settlers in the West Bank is a crime in and of itself. So yeah, I'm curious where Mehdi Hasan goes from here, because there's so many different things you can bring up.
70 had pled guilty to assaulting a police officer. 70 had pled guilty to assault with a deadly weapon. J.D. Vance said, we're not going to pardon the violent criminals from January 6th. Donald Trump pardoned all of them. Are you okay with that?
I would say January 6th is a very special case. I would say it's it's almost a climax point in history.
It's a climax point. Dude, holy shit. These people are so funny. January 6th is some kind of holy day in their minds. It's they've added it into this religious lexicon that they're building up. It's this whole mythos around Donald Trump. But once Donald Trump dies, none of these people are actually going to care about that at all. They're just going to move on to the next Christo-fascist freak that rises to power in this country.
Phrase the question this way. Right now in the LA protests, if they were to...
What? We're bringing up the LA protests now? Wait, is he going to ask if LA protesters stormed the Capitol? You'd be pro them getting off, right, Mehdi? So you're being a hypocrite.
Just for example, they were to rush the capital of LA.
He is bringing it up.
They'd have to move over all the homeless people living in tents on the steps of the Capitol. But if they were managed to get into the Capitol,
Mehdi, he's like, this is a disgusting human being sitting across from me.
Capitol, and they were just protesting, peacefully. Let's say police officers were rushing them in. They were letting them in and saying, hey, you guys can go in, like we have many testimonies that say.
What about the violent ones, though?
Okay, violent ones like...
Yeah, what about the violent ones, bro? I mean, I also love how conservatives will freak the fuck out and be like, we need to send in the Marines because there are some, Waco cars that are getting torched. There are some vehicles that are getting burned, and that's violence. But then as soon as it's like Republican hogs storming the Capitol, they're like, that's non-violence. That's just like infrastructural damage.
Like a man named David Dempsey, a judge, a Reagan-appointed judge, sentenced to 20 years in prison. He stomped on police officers' heads. The judge said his conduct was exceptionally egregious. He attacked police officers with flagpoles and pepper spray. Donald Trump pardoned him. There's a man named Daniel Rodriguez. He got 12 years in prison for taking a stun gun and tasing a police officer in the neck and giving him a heart attack. The judge said he was a one-man army of hate. Donald Trump pardoned him. Does that not make Trump pro-criminal? He's letting violent criminals out of prison.
I would say no, it doesn't make him pro-criminal.
You're okay with that?
I did not say that. I said that one pardon against somebody.
It was 1,600 pardons. 600 of those were people charged
one
with...
example that you just gave me.
I can give you more. Should I keep going?
Fine.
Shane
And I'll say the exact same thing every single
then
time.
Your argument will fall apart because it's not just one example if I keep going.
Go for it then.
Okay, Shane Jenkins got 7 years in prison for 9 criminal offenses, attacking police with...
I mean, this is not the hill for you to die on. Like, once again, you can say, oh, well, like, a few pardons of criminals doesn't mean that, like, just because Trump pardoned a few people, like, that's just one example, right? Just because he pardoned one person that is a criminal doesn't mean, like, he's generally pro-crime. Like, I think that he's still, he wants to kill black people that do crimes. Like, that's not pro-crime, right? And, like, obviously the issue is that he doesn't care about crime. He's pro his political agenda, and his political agenda involves deporting minority groups in this country. And that's the crime that he's going to focus on, the crime of not being documented in America. Even if you are documented, but you still disrupt the general political goals that the Republicans have. So, like, if you protest Israel, you're going to get deported. If you have a green card, but you're found to have criticized Trump on social media, then you're going to get detained and then eventually deported. Your green card's going to be revoked because they're like, oh, well, you got your green card under false pretenses. You lied on the application. You said you were pro-America, but you criticize Trump, so you're clearly not pro-America. That's the crime that he doesn't like. And it's when you get this far down the rabbit hole, you have no objective criteria that you're grading people on being a criminal or not. It's just like, if you do something that makes me feel uncomfortable, or your existence goes against something I believe in, whether it be everyone's straight, everyone's white, you're here makes it so that I can't have my ethnostate, then that's going to be criminalized. So what Mehdi's talking about is, like, Donald Trump is clearly pro-crime. He's pro-corruption. Having actual laws on the books is antithetical to Donald Trump's administration's goals. But what this guy's trying to say is, like, well, I'm pro the crimes that I think shouldn't be crimes, but I'm against the crimes that is basically like minority people existing in our world.
The deadly weapon, destroying government property.
How do
Trump
pardons that probably shouldn't have happened turn into pro-crime?
So you've agreed that they shouldn't have been pardoned?
Sure, but that wasn't your claim, was January 6th. Your claim was Trump is pro-crime.
Yeah, because he pardons criminals.
Okay, I would say that that's a fault.
Let's talk about non-January 6 people.
Okay.
He's pardoned people like Paul Walchuk recently, who took millions of dollars from his own employees, was sentenced to tax crimes, had to pay back $4 million. Trump pardoned him. He bought himself a $2 million yacht. Why is he pardoning criminals like that?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you should. I don't think really presidential pardons should be a thing at all. But I agree. I don't think that.
All right, pause.
That means something.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thanks.
It's like, oh, this example doesn't make him pro-crime. This example doesn't make him pro-crime. This example doesn't make him pro-crime. This example that, once again, isn't a single person, but an aspect of Trump, which indicates he's pro-crime, doesn't mean that he's just pro-crime. Okay, well, care to explain yourself, or are you just going to sit there the entire time and say, no, 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 none of these actually mean that he's pro-crime?
How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Mehdi.
What is it?
Mehdi.
You're from northern UK, I guess?
I'm from London, North London.
Oh God, what are these guys? Oh, it's like I can pick where you're from within the UK based off of your accent. So you're in the northern suburbs of Essex. I can see from your accent. No, you're totally wrong. You're just a douchebag.
Okay, fair enough. What's your
Fair enough.
ethnic background, if you don't mind my asking?
Oh my God, what a disgusting pig this man is. Your accent and your skin tone don't match my preconceived notion of what a person from the UK would look like. So let me actually ask you your ethnic background. Please, Mehdi, say like, no, I think that's irrelevant. Fuck off. I want him to say that. Holy shit. Like, can Mehdi ask this man his ethnic background? And then he's gonna probably boast like, I'm 98% European from the original Mayflower that landed on the shores of New England.
My parents are from India.
Okay, perfect. Just getting premise here. First of all, I want to say
Getting the premise here? What's the premise?
The premise of Donald Trump being pro-crime.
No. I want to concern myself with why you care about what's happening in the U.S. first and foremost.
Bro, this is such a fucking stupid cop-out answer. First of all, he's in the U.S. right now. Second of all, the U.S. imposes its will on the entirety of the fucking world. You can't like burn an American flag in Yemen without American warships coming up your asshole and fucking like bombing the shit out of your country. Are you kidding me, bro? Oh, I'm just wondering, like, why would an Indian immigrant to the UK concern himself about the affairs of the world dominant country?
Secondly, I want to say this. With the
Should
argument,
US should people who live in the US not care about?
Let's not interrupt each other. Because I have this thing, like people know I have this thing. I have to stay calm, okay? So here's the thing.
Is he in anger management classes?
I am happy that he released J6. In fact, so much so that I was prepared to protest if he didn't.
Okay.
So when you say, are you okay that he's pro-crime? Sure, because you know what? We're changing the definition of what crime is, first and foremost.
You don't think stomping on police officers' heads is a crime?
I don't think it's no longer a relevant conversation anymore. You're
Really?
arguing. No, it's not, because you know what? Okay, have you seen the U.S. in the last 4 or 5 years?
Yes, I've
BLM
lived
protests.
there for a
Have you
while.
seen? Okay, I myself have been involved in these protests. I've seen egregious things that you couldn't even imagine.
So we
being
have no
done.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, when these people I don't like protest, that's criminal, that's egregious. Those people should be tried, convicted, rot in prison for the rest of their lives. But when it's January 6th, conservative hogs protesting, like when I'm there, Mehdi, what's your ethnicity again? What's your ethnic background? But regardless, let's get that premise set up. But when I'm protesting, that's completely justified. That's fighting for justice. Like, once again, these people aren't actually pro or anti-crime. They're pro their agenda, and they're going to claim that anything in pursuit of that agenda is justified, and anything that stands in the way of it, that is criminalized.
To conservatives, it's not about that. It's about tribal warfare. Okay. That's where we're at in the U.S. I don't know where you're at in the UK. You're from India, so.
Well, you're from India. No, he's not. He said my parents were Indian. He's from the UK, dumbass. I don't. So, yes, he's just making the argument now that laws are irrelevant. That is the argument he's making now. Donald Trump isn't pro or anti-crime because laws are irrelevant.
I don't really.
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, so
I'm an American citizen.
You have your own states.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Not sure how you got that, but okay.
Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have.
Yeah, born there, but also I'm ethnically American, right? white people should be, white people, if their family's been there long enough, then they ethnically deserve it. It's not that you're just born here, because that would indicate that if Mehdi's parents gave birth to Mehdi in America, then Mehdi would be an American citizen because he was born there, right? Dude, these people are so fucking predictable. They're such losers. Holy shit.
Have some stake in the claim here, okay?
But sure.
Oh, he has stake in the claim because his family fucking killed some Native Americans 150 years ago.
Different. But you're a descendant of immigrants, settlers,
I didn't know.
Colonialists.
Yeah, colonials.
You don't look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
Bro, this man looks like he needs some, let's just say, external genetic information inserted into his bloodline.
What are you talking about? Whites are Native American.
Holy fuck, dude. This fucking dumb bitch. She's back. Holy shit. The fucking Canadian Nazi girl that we got.
I think
what was happening before the 1500s?
This loser's back? Jesus Christ, man. How do you wear a... Sorry, my microphone's speaking. How do you wear a silk shirt like this and be a Nazi fascist? Dude, this is the face of fascism? This fucking, inbred pig-faced fool that's arguing with Mehdi Hasan on a topic of Donald Trump being pro-crime. He's giving blood and soil arguments. This fucking loser... And then you have 5 feet to the left of him, this fucking twink wearing a silk, a teal blue silken shirt, unbuttoned down to his nipples, just laughing along and clapping, being like, yes, blood and soil, blood and soil.
Getting confused with it.
I don't mind going on a tangent. But what was happening before the 1500s?
Calm down. I think you're getting.
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here from Asia.
Do you know what indigenous means?
Listen, before
indigenous people can't come from somewhere else.
Why do you ask a question if you're going to interrupt?
I'm not sure if you know what the meaning of indigenous means.
I do know what it means. It means they came here first, right? They came here from Asia by way of land bridge. Have an argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson or anybody else about that. I don't care.
Is he an American?
I genuinely don't care. Yes, he is.
Okay, just checking.
My point is, okay?
Nothing to do with crime. So far, you've agreed with me that these people are criminals.
Because you're derailing, dude. I'm trying to stay on track.
You literally sat down and asked me where I'm from. I think you derailed this conversation from the get-go.
I think you got offended by that, but I'm
not offended. I'm just wondering what it has to do with crime.
I'm always curious.
We're going to talk about immigration. Don't worry. Later on, you can come back.
I hope so.
Right now, you're doing a very bad job of making the case that he's not pro-crime.
I just got a round of applause.
How are there not any red flags going up there? Holy shit! These people are so lost, man. I swear to God, if a politician that represents this depravity wins in any kind of election going forward, this country's so fucked. If the Democrats can't even win the votes of people that voted for Donald Trump that are just struggling to survive in this country, and then they're like, oh yeah, let me vote for Trump because he's not Biden and my life is shit under Biden, even though Trump was president before Biden and their lives were shit under Trump too. But they're just so desperate for a change. They're maybe Trump will be different next time. If the Democrats can't get that through their thick skulls and they allow someone that represents a change from the status quo by being a fucking Nazi, I don't know what to do. Please don't tell me that the majority of this country is fucking blood and soil Nazis like the losers in this room. Holy shit. Please give me a fucking Democrat that's going to be like, oh yeah, your lives are struggling. Don't worry. I will lead to change. Just say you're going to change things. Even if you lie, just do that for me. Please, Democrats, please. Holy shit. Send someone up there that's going to be like, I'm just going to have things change.
Applause. I could probably get another one actually if I asked for it.
Wow.
So I don't think I'm doing as bad.
Is this how you get rounds of applause? You sit in a room with 20 people who agree with you. Wow, amazing. Amazing.
Oh shit, dude. Damn, that was pretty good.
Amazing. That must make you feel good.
Comes out. You know what? I'm actually
20 people
glad
who agree
you're
with
getting
you
this
applauded you.
emotionally outraged right
Wow.
now. This is.
Bro, I'm sorry, man. This would work if you were debating a woman, but I don't think this is hitting with the fucking fascist freaks that are surrounding you by saying, oh, you're getting a little emotional right now, when your only response to what Mehdi's saying is, wow, wow, wow.
It's great.
I love it.
Do I have to say anything at this point, or are you just going to keep going?
No, please.
Okay.
Make your claim.
Well, my claim is that I don't care if it's pro-crime. You want to go back to the topic of conversation?
That's fine. We agree then. He's pro-crime
But
and you
I have
don't
a
care.
question for you, though. Do you care on the opposite side of the spectrum?
Yes.
Do you care about law being administered to the opposite side of the spectrum?
I think anyone who assaults a police officer shouldn't be pardoned. I think that Donald Trump shouldn't have pardoned 9 Republican members of Congress who were convicted of crimes, and I don't think Joe Biden should commit. I don't think Democrats should pardon Democrats.
Fair, but I don't think you understand where we are in the U.S. then.
I think I do.
No, because you're arguing from a position of like a U.S. that doesn't exist anymore. Okay. We're headed towards
nihilism, no laws, nothing matters.
It's not about
everyone's pro-crime.
It's not about that. It's that conservatives conservatives for too long have been playing it safe. They've been playing by the law. They've been playing
by the law.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Like, once again, he just can't contend with what Mehdi Hasan's saying in the context of there is law and order. Because if he engages in the conversation under the assumption that there is such a thing as law, then he'd have to admit that Donald Trump is violating the law. But he just refuses to do that. And so he has to make up this new world where there is no objective law and order. Like, Mehdi just needs to be like, okay, but there are laws written down, and Donald Trump is in gross violation of those laws. That's what I'm saying when I say he is pro-crime and anti-law and order. And then this person has to be like, okay, well, I disagree with that. And then you say, okay, well, you agree with my claim then. You just disagree with the underlying assumptions that inform the way we understand law and order. You'd be like, okay, yeah, I guess, like, as it's written, he's pro-crime. Like, this guy just agrees with me. Also, love to see that this guy's, like, on TRT and it's just not taking. Goddamn, this man looks like a rat human. He looks like the fucking guy who's, like, Ron, like, the pedophile that is Ron Weasley's rat in Harry Potter.
Yes, they have.
Maybe you missed the Bush presidency. Did you live here during the Bush years?
Conservatives are
didn't
so
play by
concerned.
the law, George W. Bush, nor did Ronald Reagan.
Let's be respectful to you. Let me finish.
I'm not sure you've been that respectful, but okay.
I'm trying to bring it back, so let's both bring it back,
That's
okay?
good.
I'm conservative, okay?
Really?
Let me tell you this. We do play it too safe. We've been playing it by the book for too long. Okay. At this point, gloves are off, right? The left has made their point. They're willing to do...
The police force in Washington, the left.
Yes! Are you kidding me? The left? Are you insane?
Police officers.
Look at LA right here. You think those stand down? You think
the LAPD are a bunch of liberal Marxists?
No, but I think they listen to liberal Marxists who tell them what to do.
Okay.
I think they listen to who signs their paychecks at the end of the day.
Can I just check, because you're
Marxists.
doing lots of little diversions. We both agree Donald Trump's pro-crime, you're just fine with it.
No,
Is that the position?
I don't
That's what you've said so far for about 5 minutes.
I don't agree with your definition
What's
of
your
crime.
definition of crime?
It doesn't
Stomping
matter.
on a police officer's head is not a crime. That's your definition of crime as the Native American.
I am Native American.
If you say so.
So, going back to the topic at hand.
Bro, this is new lore for me. Seeing now that conservatives, because they're trying to set up an argument to get rid of birthright citizenship, now they're calling white people that have been in this country for like 100 years Native American. That's hilarious.
We have different definitions of crime because you're talking about...
There's a criminal code in this country. It's called the U.S. Criminal Code.
You know what? Let's focus on what we agree on. I'm sure you and I actually agree on a lot more.
Do we agree that people shouldn't stomp on police officers' heads? Can we agree on that? If you don't agree on that, then I really think this conversation is kind of pointless.
No, because first of all, you're saying what? That the police have the authority, that they're given the authority. I don't accept the authority that's been given by liberal
conservative position. I thought the conservative are pro-police.
Then you don't know what a real... Hey, listen, you're in a room with juggernauts right now, okay? I'm telling you right now, you are going to be blown open if you think that my
if we're going to struggle with the English language for the next couple of hours, then
what you're up against right now, okay?
100%.
Yeah. Newsflash, the conservatives are liberal to me, okay? Neocons, the libertarians, all those mainstream people, there might as well be leftists.
I mean, to be fair, they are pretty liberal in the way that he's talking about them running the country. He's more of like the Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance. Let's just ignore the laws entirely and do whatever you want, basically. That's the type of conservative that he wants.
To me, okay? That's how far to the right I am. Do you understand my position?
So when you say,
guessed it when you sat down. Say, about obeying police, Why would I give the authority to police? Do you know here in America?
Do you think Donald Trump should be pardoning 9 members of Congress?
Do you know?
But, I mean, it goes without saying that what this person is speaking is ridiculous. He doesn't believe in any of this. All that he's doing is trying to win an argument against Mehdi Hasan. Because as soon as it's like a leftist protest movement, they like, you know, throw a water bottle at a cop, he's like, oh, well, we need to execute them. They need to respect authority, right? So he's full of bullshit when he says he thinks he shouldn't have to respect police officers. It's just complete bullshit that he's spewing here. Let's just skip to Mehdi Hasan's second claim here. Surrounded is now a podcast I will not be listening to. All right, Mehdi Hasan's second claim.
Donald Trump is defying the Constitution.
This is like pretty similar to the first one. Once again, Donald Trump doesn't care about any laws. I would wrap this into his first claim about how Donald Trump is pro-crime. I think defying the Constitution is, you know, both in the spirit of being pro-crime and also literally pro-crime. If you break the Constitution, that's a criminal thing. And it's also like, you know, spiritually criminal. Oh man, Big Boy worked on his fast feet there.
Nice to meet
pleasure to meet you, sir.
Mehdi, lovely to meet you.
So I would say that with Trump being anti-constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because in regards to the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us.
Yes.
And when it fails to seek to serve...
Once again, what do we have in the first claim? Donald Trump is pro-crime. All we get is arguments from people that are like, yeah, he's pro-crime, but like, I don't care. I think that crime is good. I think that like certain crimes shouldn't be crimes, and whatever Donald Trump does, that's not actually criminal, right? I'm kind of like past the idea of law and order, and I'm just in favor of the person with the most power. What they do is the new, like, that's the new order. That's the new law. They're basically just saying an argument from power. Whatever the most powerful person does or says, that's the correct thing to do or say. And then immediately, Mehdi's like, okay, well, he's also anti-Constitution. Next guy comes up. You know, like, I don't really care that he's pro or anti-Constitution. I think it's irrelevant. Mehdi's just he's just talking to people that don't care about the liberal order of things. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about law and order. All they care about is that their guy is the biggest ape in the room, and he has a couple of fucking stones that he's clapping the heads of people that disagree with him on.
serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized, making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think
Really? Being anti-porn gets you clapping like a smattering of applause from this group of freaks? Just being like, that's the first thing he brought. He doesn't even bring up like hate speech or harassment. He's like, the First Amendment shouldn't allow pornography. That's the first thing he brings up.
I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think that, quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country.
So pornography and blasphemy, those are the issues he has with our First Amendment. Oh, you can say God damn it and then look at a pair of tits and jerk off after work, and they're going to say that needs to be banned legally, like get thrown in jail for that shit.
In the name of the Constitution or following the Constitution. So, quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
So this is wonderfully revealing of the modern conservative mindset. So I appreciate you spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay.
Once again, dude, it's these conservative, like, these fucking idiots are so, I mean, they're so stupid, right? They're like, oh yeah, like, I think the January 6th protesters, like, sure, they did violence, but they did something I believe in, so they should, why should we have to respect cops? cut to the LA protest. They threw a water bottle at a cop. They need to be executed on the spot. Send in the Marines to gun them down. Then you have this fucking idiot, and he's like, yeah, I don't think you should be able to like stub your toe and say, fuck, god damn it. Because that's blasphemous. And then I also don't think you should be able to like look up big honkers at bighonkers.com when you get home from work, because that is victimizing women. But like the Second Amendment, we're totally fine with that, right? So he wants a nanny state to be able to tell you what you can't say god damn it, but he doesn't want a nanny state to be able to be like, oh, you have a fucking grenade launcher in your garage. And you don't have a license to have that. That can't be a thing. Like, you can't have a fucking nuke in your basement. He's like, fuck.
I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do, because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
whenever
the
it's in your
Amendment.
favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
So you don't
it's the
believe in
friend enemy.
democracy?
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
Donald Trump is not Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I
So-
completely agree,
so
and that's
you
part of
support
the problem.
Trump? You don't support Trump?
No, I don't. I didn't even vote for him. I wrote in like John Pork or someone. I
Why
can't
did
even
you-
remember.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted.
This is fat.
That's a pretty good question, man. So he's willing to use democracy to get the autocracy, right? And of course that's the reason.
I kind of voted.
This is a very good dismantling of this man's positions by Mehdi Hasan. Once again, like, these people can't actually engage in any of the points that Mehdi's making. All they can do is dance around it and be like, well, like, I actually completely disagree with any kind of equal rights. I just think that Trump is the biggest orangutan in the room right now, and what he's saying goes. And what he's saying more or less aligns with my beliefs, because you have losers like Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance in the White House that are basically Christian fundamentalists in the White House.
I came with this argument, but I'm bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this. So
yeah, absolutely.
How do we get to an autocracy?
I think, quite frankly, that if we are able to enact local leaders...
Who is the we, by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White
me.
people?
Yeah,
No
absolutely.
brown people. So,
well,
some
actually,
of you guys,
I have quite...
Who fucking clapped for being on a white ethnostate, which is what they're advocating for? Once again, not everyone in that room is white. Let's just get that out there right now.
To enact local leaders...
Who is the we, by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White
me.
people?
Yeah,
No brown
absolutely.
people. So...
Yeah. Thank you, Jubilee, for doing the zoom out. This fucking loser right here, this pig boy. Why am I not surprised that the rat is the one clapping for a white ethnostate? Once again, there's a lot of people that are not white in this circle.
Well,
Some of
actually,
you guys-
I have quite...
some of the people
I
in this
have
room don't make the cut from what I can see visually.
Actually,
Okay.
hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you.
Okay.
I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white.
So
and
how-
should
Okay, so once again, like, is he actually in favor of having Hispanic people that got subsumed from the Mexican-American War here? No, he's not. He's just saying that to give himself an out. As soon as a freak like this would get an ounce of power, he would start pogroms against these people. Because, once again, when you start doing purity politics about who's like the most pure white, who's the most purely conservative, it's never enough. And basically, there's going to be fractures in coalitions like this ad infinitum. People are like, there's never going to be pure enough. There's never going to be enough purity for these people. Like, first they're going to get out the I don't know, let's just pick Mehdi Hasan as an example. They're going to get all of the Indian immigrants out of here. They're going to get all of the Cuban immigrants, the Haitian immigrants. Then they're going to start looking internally, right? They're going to be like, okay, well, like, there's a lot of Hispanic Christian fundamentalists, but like, they're Hispanic. They're not really the same type of American as we are. So let's get them out. Then they're going to be like, you have long hair. That's haram. That goes against the biblical teachings of what you should look like. And it's just like complete bullshit. They start getting more and more like, there's never going to be an ending point for this guy. Like, this guy's looking a little tubby there, right? Not really keeping himself in shape. I thought the body's a temple. Are you saying you disrespect the temple of God? Like, I don't know. Maybe you should be voted off the island next. Never going to be enough for these people.
Stay that
How
way.
does the United States... I mean, we've gone so off topic, but how does the United States look like under you? Sorry, what's your name?
My name is, my name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh,
to say
well,
your name.
I use
Connor,
a pseudonym online,
fair enough,
but
Connor.
fair enough.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
No, I didn't ask about
whether-
deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader such as
Where does he
Franco.
come from?
It could be a kind of aristocrat.
Once again, he's advocating for the mass deportation of pretty much all non-white people, and he's saying it's a benevolent leader.
Class could be someone
No, but who picks the autocrat?
frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings
So
were
isn't
paid.
that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that state.
And then no more votes afterwards?
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because
How do you
that's the
know?
whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt makes
supporters.
this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right? You
Carl
liberals,
Schmitt, the
you-
Nazi
Yeah,
theoretician.
absolutely. I don't care.
I don't care. Okay. Carl Schmitt. Carl Patterson Schmitt. Let's just go to this Wikipedia. Herpetologist? What even is a herpetologist? Zoology concerning the study of amphibians. I don't know if this is the person we're talking about. Yeah, I don't think a herpetologist is the person we're looking for. Okay, I think this is what we're talking about. Carl Schmitt, not the herpetologist, not the person that studies frogs. Carl Schmitt, the famous herpetologist that worked at, what university did we work at? That's so funny. But he's like, Carl Schmitt, the herpetologist, was also a Nazi? Okay. Oh, wait, he was just a straight-up Nazi. There we go. He wrote extensively about the effective wielding of political power. An authoritarian conservative theorist, he was noted as a critic of parliamentary democracy, liberalism, and cosmopolitanism. His works covered political theory, legal theory, continental philosophy, and political theology. However, they are controversial mainly due to his intellectual support for and active involvement with Nazism. In 1933, he joined the Nazi Party and utilized his legal and political theories to provide ideological justification for the regime. However, he later lost favor among senior Nazi officials and was ultimately removed from his official positions within the party. Couldn't even hack it as a Nazi. The Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy writes that Schmitt was an acute observer and analyst of the weakness of liberal constitutionalism and liberal cosmopolitanism. But there can be little doubt that his preferred cure turned out to be infinitely worse than the disease. His ideas remain highly influential, with many scholars arguing his influenced modern governance in Russia and China. Okay, so basically it's like, this guy, like most Nazis, is good at pointing out the flaws in the system. He's good at airing his grievances, but when it comes to actual solutions, he's basically like, let's just like insidiously use this system to get power, and then once we have power, just like kill a bunch of people. We don't actually have solutions for all of these issues because that requires hard work. So let's just like gin up a bunch of like anti-immigrant, pro-white fervor, and then use that fervor to commit pogroms and just ride it until all of that energy inevitably burns itself out.
Fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called
Bro, holy shit, this guy's a fucking loser, man. You put on your best shirt for this, man. You got a fresh haircut just to go online.
Nazi.
I didn't say that.
Just to go online and star in a video that has 1.7 million views in under a day and call yourself a Nazi. Cite a literal Nazi as your justification for your political worldview. Are you kidding me, bro? You put on the good pants for this event?
I
Doesn't
didn't
matter
actually
to
say
me.
that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
What about the persecution of the Jews?
Oh yeah, because we remember that the main issue with the Nazis is that they were too anti-Christian, is that they persecuted the church a little bit too much. That was the biggest issue with the Nazis.
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But
And
you
so
don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was
Bro, silence. He doesn't even have a single red flag. All of these people are anti-Semitic. Bro, once again, when we talk about figures like Ethan Klein, Richie Torres, the ADL, who have hate boners for leftists, look at what the right-wing conservative movement of this country is. They can't eat. This is the second fucking time in a row where there's been a Nazi on this show, and they're like, nah, I'm in favor of like the persecution of the Jews by the Nazis. Remember Jordan Peterson when the guy's like, oh, well, would you hide Jews in your attic if you were living in Nazi Germany? And he's like, I won't answer that. I refuse to answer a hypothetical. These hypotheticals, they're ridiculous. I wouldn't find myself in this position. There wouldn't ever be Jews that would even think they could trust me to hide them, because I'd be the one. I'd be the one inspecting them at the camps. The Jews, they would know to stay away. Why is Jubilee platforming Nazis? That's all I want to know. Like, why is Jubilee platforming Nazis that are just like, yeah, fuck the Jews? Dude, holy shit, I just can't get over it. People like or groups and people like the ADL, Ethan Klein, they piss and shit themselves over guys like Hasan being like free Palestine. And then you have a group full of Nazis that are pro-Holocaust. Holy shit.
a little bit of persecution
We
and
may
stuff like
have
that,
to
which is
rename
bad.
this show
but-
because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
I don't know about that, Mehdi. He is kind of a far-right Republican. I think this is the classic far-right Republican right now.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you could say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
The demon's escaping him like a fucking balloon. Holy shit, man. How does this man have the Tucker Carlson laugh? Tucker Carlson, the man with a laugh so perverse that not even One Piece characters have it. One Piece characters would feel intimidated and appalled by hearing Tucker Carlson laugh, and this man has the same thing. Like, it's like they're possessed by a fascist Nazi demon that escapes whenever they get a little bit too excited, whenever they start feeling too many emotions. It just rushes out of them.
I think that there was a little bit of persecution
We
and stuff
may
like
have
that,
to
which is
rename
bad.
this show
but-
because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you could say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone
Because
is on this.
in
Because you know
during-
that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
clearly you're not.
During the
Clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat
Are
cats.
you
They were
in favor
aristocrats.
of,
They didn't care.
favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Are you in favor of the people's will? No, I'm in favor of autocracy, but my justification for Nazism is that they enacted the people's will, which once again isn't even true. They didn't even get a majority of votes in the election. But yeah, let's just say that Nazis represent the people's will, and then once we have it, we're just like, of course they still represent it, but we're just never going to confirm that, and we're just going to get rid of elections because it's a waste of time. Once again, these people are complete cowards. They just use elections as justification because elections are like unborn babies. They can be basically like Elections give people, especially conservatives, that know that their policies are unpopular with the American people, but elections give conservatives the opportunity to say that, well, I won the election, so that means whatever I say is completely represented by every single a person that voted for me. And it's like unborn babies, where conservatives are like, well, I advocate for the unborn babies. It's this mindset that they're advocating for people, but really they're just doing whatever they want. But it does give them this justification for doing. But we're never going to actually check back in to make sure that those people that I claim I'm representing actually feel represented by me, are actually happy with the job I'm doing, and will vote for me again. No, it's fine. We got it once. We never need it again. Which is exactly what Donald Trump is doing right now.
Quite frankly, I'm not.
You mentioned Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic.
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're claiming?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Never killed any innocent people.
SAN fact check, and once again, this is a far right fact checking company. Franco and his forces killed or executed 150,000 people. That includes members of the Catholic clergy who were deemed either liberal or loyal to the Spanish Republic. Okay, bro, are you okay? Let's just look this up. How many people did Franco kill? So this was in Spain. Spanish Civil War, White Terror, Spain. The Francoist repression was a political repression and mass violence against dissidents that were committed by the nationalist faction during the Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 39, as well as the first 9 years of the regime of the General Francisco Franco. From 1936 to 1945, Francoist Spain officially designated supporters of the Second Spanish Republic liberal socialists of different stripes, Protestants, intellectuals, homosexuals, Freemasons, Jews, and immigrants, as well as Basque, Catalan, Andalusian, and Galician nationalists as enemies. Innocent people. No, they only killed people that raped nuns and priests. Yeah, homosexuals. Is that what we're talking about here? So the Spanish bishops issued a second letter in which they justified the extermination of the enemy and testified that this was an existing policy. Otherwise, the explicit reference to a policy of extermination, not repression or elimination, leads to biopolitical interpretations. Okay, so let's talk about who they killed. Death tolls. Goals and victims of the repression. The main goal of the White Terror was to terrify the civil population who opposed the coup, eliminate the supporters of the Republican militant of the leftist parties, and because of this, some historians have considered the White Terror genocide. In fact, one of the leaders of the coup, General Mola, said, "It is necessary to spread terror. We have to create the impression of mastery, eliminating without scruples or hesitation all those who do not think as we do. There can be no cowardice. If we hesitate one moment and fail to proceed with the greatest determination, we will not win. Anyone who helps or hides a communist or a supporter of the Popular Front will be shot." So, in areas controlled by the nationalists, targeted were government officials and Popular Front politicians, union leaders, teachers, intellectuals, right? Suspected Freemasons, Basque, Catalan, Andalusian, and Galician nationalists, military officers. Because of the mass terror in many areas controlled by the nationalists, thousands of Republicans left their homes and tried to hide in nearby forests or mountains. They became known as Huidos. Many of them later joined the Spanish Maquis. Death toll. Oh, here we go. Another major target of the terror was women, with the overall goal of keeping them in their traditional place in Spanish society. To this end, the Nationalist Army promoted a campaign of targeted rape. Guipo de Llano spoke multiple times over the radio, warning that immodest women with Republican sympathies would be raped by his Moorish troops. Holy shit, that's insane. Nationalist soldiers raped a truckload of female prisoners, threw their bodies down a well, and paraded around town with their rifles draped with the victims' underwear. These rapes were not the result of soldiers disobeying orders, but official nationalist policies, with officers specifically choosing the Moors to be the primary perpetrators. Advancing nationalist troops scrawled, "Your children will give birth to fascists" on the walls of captured buildings, and many women taken prisoner were force-fed castor oil, a powerful laxative, and then paraded in public naked. Holy fuck, dude. This is horrible. This is what this man is in favor of? Estimates of executions behind the nationalist lines during the Spanish Civil War range from fewer than 50,000 to 200,000. Joseph Antana said 150,000. Most of the victims were killed without a trial in the first months of the war, and their corpses were left on the sides of the road or in clandestine and unmarked graves. For example, 374 officially reported victims of the repression of a total of 1,303 were executed after trial. Okay. So, yeah, it was not great. Raped, killed women, raped, killed children. Some people call it a genocide. And we can thank our fact check here that includes members of the Catholic clergy who are deemed either liberal or loyal to the Spanish Republic. What about the gays? What about the ethnicities that we're targeting? Like, that's gonna be the fact check, with a fucking Nazi justifying a fascist genocide that we're seeing? Not these nationalists that we're seeing killed, not the teachers killed, not the intellectuals killed, the union leaders. Okay, sure.
White terror was only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude.
Dude, your white terror was a campaign of rape.
Killing priests? I mean, priests don't brandish guns and kill people.
You just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a Nazi and being a Nazi
is mutual,
if being a Nazi means upholding human dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't in a state that I was running. I wouldn't want to hurt you or anything like that. But quite frankly,
I don't debate fascists.
Okay. So do you concede then? I mean, why?
Do I concede you're a fascist who won't condemn the Nazis?
Yeah.
Yes, I concede that.
Okay, great. So
It's not a concession. You just, like, once again, he claimed that Donald Trump is is anti-Constitution. You come up there and you're like, do you concede that I'm a Nazi? Sure. Like, this is just the correct. Like, listen. This is the thing, guys, and this is something that Sam Cedar struggled with too. Sam Cedar was talking with that Canadian fascist girl, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm like anti-immigrants if they're not white." He's like, "Okay, so you're just a racist then? Like, we don't have much to talk about." And she's like, "Sure." And then afterwards, Sam Cedar, after he did his Jubilee, he's like, "I don't know if I did that properly because, like." You shouldn't really air those arguments and treat them with respect. However, maybe I should have actually engaged with them and explained why they're wrong. And Mehdi Hasan's doing the same thing that Sam did, where it's like, I don't debate with fascists. Like, that you're self-evidently wrong. And Sam and probably Mehdi, maybe Mehdi after this, we're going to think about this and be like, maybe I should have actually debated on this and demonstrated why being a genocidal freak is a wrong position to have. However, I don't think that they actually should. I think that Jubilee is doing a disservice to humanity by platforming people that are proudly and brazenly Nazi. I think that that's insane that they're doing that, and Jubilee should be held responsible for this. Like, fuck Jubilee, do a better job of vetting your contestants to make sure they're not Nazis. Holy shit. I know it's hard to find far-right conservatives that aren't Nazis, but try a little harder next time. Okay, so we have that. I think that Sam and Mehdi being like, I'm not going to debate with these people, are taking the right approach, because being a Nazi is not something you can be debated out of. Being a Nazi, the only cure for being a Nazi is to get thrown in prison and to actually like face justice. That's the only cure for being a Nazi. You don't debate people out of being a Nazi, and you don't do the service You don't do them the service of treating them like treating them like an opponent that can actually be debated and actually be reasoned with, because they can't be reasoned with. And if you actually treat them like a real person and debate them like they're a real person with valid ideas and valid points, you're giving in to Jubilee's framing of the situation. And Jubilee's the one that's wrong. Jubilee is the platform that is giving these people a soapbox to stand on and is making them seem like, this is a reasonable position to have. They're on a major YouTube channel. It's like the left versus Nazis. That's the dichotomy that Jubilee is setting up with this platform. And so yes, I do think this is the correct tactic to have. Like, there are spaces to debate Nazis, but I don't think that space should be held on a platform like this. On a platform like this, the only correct response is, get the fuck out of here. I don't debate with fascists. That's the only correct response.
I mean, what are we doing here? Because you just seem offended.
What you're doing here,
you just seem offended, to be quite frankly. Like,
I'm offended by people who can't condemn the Nazis. Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I condemn the evils that they did, but I don't really care about
Jews?
being. Yeah, sure. I don't care about being called a Nazi. Sure. Is the whole thing.
I never called you a Nazi.
I care
you
about
called
doing
yourself
the right
a Nazi,
thing.
a fascist, and a General Franco supporter.
Well, yeah, I am a General Franco supporter. He was awesome. He was so super cool, quite frankly. Because the whole
and
thing.
you don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in democracy.
What are you doing here at a televised debate? This is democracy. Not what a debate and disagreement.
Because it is the means to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean upholding free speech after we win. I mentioned
the only good thing about this fascist moment we're in is that you guys are so open about it.
The whole reason I mentioned
the quiet part loud.
The whole reason I mentioned Carl Schmitt earlier, and you kind of blew past him, is the friend-enemy distinction.
Past him because of the Nazi
even liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies and they want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish.
No, dude, liberals actually want to help everyone. Like, once again, Medicare isn't contingent on being a member of the Liberal Party. And if you're not a member of the Democrats, you're not going to get shot and buried in a mass grave on the side of the road. Well, no, don't try to make things the same. Don't try to pretend that things are the same and somehow you're justified in it. Just accept that you're a demon and move on. Just accept you're a demon that wants to kill humanity and move on. Come on, bro. Come on, man. You were so happy about being a Nazi fascist just a minute ago, and now suddenly you have your tail between your legs and you're like, okay, well, the liberals do it too. The liberals are Nazis too. No, dude. You are a Nazi that supports genocide against your opponents.
Their enemy. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish me, I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to leverage power against me. Just that simple.
I'm not sure what you want to say.
Hey, it is what it is.
Hey, it is what it is. I'm a fucking freak. Okay, let's go here. Oh, nice.
Overall, are good for America.
Immigrants overall are good for America. You got those speedy feet.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, nice to meet you,
Mehdi.
Daniela.
Is it nice for her to meet him?
So in regards to your claim, I just want to start by asking this. Do you care more about helping Americans or immigrants in this claim?
Immigrants are Americans. I'm an immigrant and an American.
Well, immigrants are not Americans. Americans are the people that were born here.
That's not true. What's the basis of your claim for that?
Are you talking about people that get naturalized in the process of becoming American?
14th Amendment. Have you read it?
Immigrants are not the same as Americans. However, are you talking about the people that become naturalized in the process of becoming American? So then you admit that they are American. Like, even in your clarifying questions, you can't escape the fact that people can come to this country and become a citizen of this country. And I would argue that you can be American in the colloquial sense, even if you're not an American citizen. I would argue that someone that's living here for like 30 years, whether they have their green card documentation, work visas, or even if they're here undocumented, they're more American than someone like her that would advocate for their execution and mass deportation.
Okay, yes, I have.
Citizenship clause. It
so
says any persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States.
I'm aware of that.
There's about 40 to 50 million naturalized Americans in this country.
Yes, but
You didn't seem aware of it because you said Americans versus immigrants.
So, but are you understanding that the process of getting all these immigrants that come?
She's going to be voted off. Come on. Why are these conservative like Christian fundamentalists allowing a woman to speak? Why are they allowing this? Where are all of the red flags?
Coming here we've been also the millions of immigrants. It's up to the millions. It's the last 20 years now, and it has dramatically affected Americans here in the country, which
Positively, I would argue.
People like...
Yeah, tell me how it's affected them. Tell me how you've seen more brown people on your social media feed? That's how it's affected them? Holy shit.
Me?
She's like... Oh, man. She's like, immigrants are like my hair. When they come here, the country looks worse. There's more brown. She's like, I like my hair white. That's why I really struggle to like keep making it whiter and whiter, more and more blonde here. I like my country like I like my roots, a lack of brown.
And everyone around here, we cannot find homes or even get jobs within our own fields that we go to college for, that we get into debt for. And because...
What immigrants are coming and taking your college-educated jobs, girl?
More blue-collar work, especially in construction, agriculture, and so forth, and the hospitality industry, we cannot get jobs in those fields. So...
Oh yeah, all of the fucking people that get their bachelors in being a hotel waitress or being a construction worker so they can put in shingles. My degree for building support beams is completely useless now because an immigrant from Guatemala just made it into this country and is willing to work for $2 less than me.
Are you looking for a job in construction or agriculture?
No, I went to college. Okay. Many people here are in college or went to college, but we can't even find jobs in our fields, also because of the H-1B visa program as well. But in regards to just your claim about immigrants specifically, we cannot even get jobs to pay for housing.
Unemployment is at a record low right now, even under Donald Trump. And I'm not a Donald Trump fan, but I would say unemployment under both Biden and Trump has been at record low levels.
Okay, is this in regards for American citizens?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm unaware of that statistic.
What else would it be in regard to? The undocumented people that are here?
But from what I see, from what I can
I'm an immigrant and an American, and I employ many American citizens, both naturalized and the ones born here. I employ Americans.
My parents came
Americans as defined by you.
My parents came as immigrants to become naturalized, so I'm not necessarily opposed to immigrants.
So you're the child of immigrants.
Correct. I'm a child of immigrants. I was born
But you don't
here.
accept that immigrants are Americans.
Not at this moment.
So your parents are not Americans.
Not at this moment.
So
no,
hold on, your parents are
they're
not Americans.
citizens. They became naturalized.
You just said you can't be citizens by being naturalized.
No, I was born here, and I'm not opposed
you're born
to
here,
naturalization.
Right?
I never
But
said that I'm against naturalization.
Are you against naturalization?
No, I never said I was against
You
naturalization.
did. You began.
Oh, the flags are getting raised.
And everyone was here. They can play it back on YouTube. You said Americans or immigrants. Are your parents Americans or immigrants?
No, my parents are United States citizens.
But they're immigrants, you said.
No, they came here as immigrants. However, but
So they
I want
are
to make the
immigrants.
claim that we cannot
I came here as an immigrant. I'm an immigrant.
But at this point, when they came, the
I
United
think that
the
people
United
aren't
States
happy
economy,
with the way this is going for you.
the United States economy was not at.
It's better now. The American economy is better than it's been for many years.
Not from the
And I can say that as someone who doesn't like Donald Trump. Which statistics are you
millions and billions of dollars
Which
to
statistics
people
are you
of
seeing?
my.
All right, let's skip to the next person. This person's getting wrecked. Oh, backwards cat boy. Backwards cat boy, you have your country club fascist here.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Mehdi.
What's going on, man? Nice to meet you. All right, so first, before I start, I need to know what you mean by good. I can talk about the economy, I can talk about culture, I can talk about all those things. I need to know what you mean.
All of them.
All of them.
I'm saying immigrants are good for the economy. They're good for...
Bro, please tell me how the fucking culture of America is getting made worse by immigrants.
You think
culture,
lower wages are
they're
good for the economy?
society. Where are the lower wages?
What do you mean, where's the lower wages?
Where are the lower wages?
Yeah, so you can
What's
look
the
at
basis?
All right, let's just look at this up. Do immigrants lower wages in America? All right, fuck the AI overview. Let's look at the American Immigration Council. Immigrants do not displace U.S. workers or reduce wages. Okay, let's read past the headline. A new National Bureau of Economic Research working paper confirms that immigration continues to benefit American workers. The study finds that recent increases in immigration to the U.S. correlate with more jobs and higher wages for U.S.-born workers. Even when these two groups have similar education and age, their employment in the labor market shows a significant degree of complementarity, implying that they do not compete for jobs, but rather the employment of one group helps the productivity of the other. The research from California, come on. Of California Davis economists Giovanni Perry and Alessandro Caiumi builds upon decades of previous research from Perry and others on the impact of immigration on the wages and employment of U.S.-born workers. Consistently, economists have found that an increase in immigration rates does not cause a drop in wages for U.S.-born workers. Immigrants don't often compete for the same jobs as U.S.-born, but instead complement the existing workforce with different skills and specializations. This boosts productivity and, in turn, wage growth for U.S.-born workers. The additional labor also attracts investment, generating economic activity. It becomes clear that immigration has a positive effect on the wages of most native-born workers. Anyway, but I mean, that's just economists. What do economists know? We're not talking about the college frat bro Nazi guys. Let's talk about this.
Sure. So you can look at like the STEM industry. It's been in like a complete and total recession. There's been tons of studies like from the Economic Policy Institute that shows that like companies like Tesla, companies from like Silicon Valley, they engaged in mass firing of workers, around 35,000, but then they hired around 12,000 H-1B visas. And it's kind of just standard economic thinking. If you
Yeah, so I mean, this is true, and that's a way to undercut the labor market. And once again, that's not an example of immigration bringing down wages. This is an example of a company hiring people for lower wages. That's not the same thing as immigration in general bringing down wages.
It's not standard economic thinking. The vast majority of economists and economic studies suggest that there is a negligible, if no impact on wages over time from immigrants. In fact, your colleague mentioned earlier, construction, there is actually evidence in construction, yes. But in some industries, in some areas, there is an impact. But overall, no. In fact, a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that migrants since 1965 have raised wages and raised innovation.
Who's that by?
National Bureau for Economic Research.
No, hold on. That's where you publish studies. I'm asking
yes, I didn't memorize the names of the authors.
Yeah, I know you didn't. Right?
Can you give me the authors you've got?
Yeah, hold on. The study you're talking about is from Giovanni Perry, and what he did is he didn't account for aggregation issues, nor did he.
The vast majority of studies.
Oh yeah, this guy's going to point out the flaws in the Giovanni Perry study, which is the study that I just looked up.
Speak,
please.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So listen, he didn't.
Bro, holy shit, this guy's on edge, man.
Give me the authors you've got.
Yeah, hold on. The study you're talking about is from Giovanni Perry, and what he did is he didn't account for aggregation issues, nor did he.
The vast majority of studies.
Let me speak,
please.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So listen, he didn't account for aggregation issues, right? And when you look at like the spatial approach, which is what all these economists use, you're not accounting for the fact that when immigrants come into an area, natives leave. If you look at an occupational approach, where you look at the specific firms that immigration is going into, like Kim ETAL 2013 did. You find a net negative impact when there's a 10% increase of immigration. You find around a 0.5% decline in wages when it comes to the specific occupations they're going to.
So
all your studies are flawed.
So 0.5%. Weigh that up against what I just mentioned from the Congressional Budget Office, which is a massive boost in GDP per head, which you're not counting for, massive increase in tax revenue, immigrants actually funding the deficits and debts by paying way more in taxes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is not even really a fun topic to debate because it's just the facts that immigrants are a net positive to our economy. And then like you can get more into like culture. I value like music, food, different life experiences, artwork. I value all of that stuff, but like maybe the color of someone's skin outweighs all of those unique and interesting life experiences that you can go through and find when you go into a different culture than your own. Like I value having unique and diverse experiences in life, but maybe this person just values the color of white on someone's skin more than that, and so he can argue against that. But yeah, like when it comes to economy, it's just not an argument at all.
proportionately, including undocumented immigrants. And what's interesting about wages is I'm in a room full of, I don't know what to call you anymore, conservatives, Republicans, fascists, I don't know. One of you has proudly said that.
Call us correct.
One of us proudly, correct. I'm in a room full of correct people, but do any of you actually care about wages? Because, for example,
I actually do.
For example, do you support raising the minimum wage?
Absolutely, and you can't do that when you're bringing all these people coming into
that's
a
not
country.
the reason the Republican Party blocks the minimum wage. You think Republican politicians don't vote for an increase in minimum wage because they're worried about immigration?
Did I say I voted Republican? Did I say I voted Republican?
Well, I'm in a show that was called 25 far-right Republicans.
That doesn't mean I'm going to support every single Republican candidate.
So you and I.
Well, they changed it. Far-right conservatives.
Good. So you and I, let's agree. We both support raising the minimum wage. Yes?
100%.
$7.25 since 2009. It's lost 30% of its value. If you care about wages, we should be raising the minimum wage in this country, not scapegoating migrants who aren't the cause of low wages in the country. You know who's causing low wages? Billionaires, millionaires, and people who won't pay fair wages to their wages, regardless of whether you are an immigrant or a native.
I get the monologue right now. Let me respond.
You had one with your one study that had a 0.5% impact. Go.
Yeah, and your study sucked that you didn't even know who wrote it, right? So let's get back to the point, right?
Because I don't need to
know one
study.
Again.
The majority of studies say that wages are not impacted by migration.
The majority of your studies are flawed. That's what I'm telling you.
My studies.
Right.
The majority of your studies are flawed. Okay, so this person's probably going, oh my God. Okay, we need to talk. We need to look at this guy.
Hey, how you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you. How are you?
Is this the demon from Demon Slayer, the head demon?
Not bad. So, what type of immigrants are we talking about?
Oh my God, this guy's awesome.
What do you mean?
Like any immigrants or are
immigrants? That's what I said. Immigrants
are illegal
overall.
immigrants.
Undocumented immigrants also contribute greatly to the U.S. I say undocumented. I don't think people are illegal.
So, let's put it this way. I mean, I'm an immigrant too, from Iran.
Okay.
There isn't even
How
a
do you
U.S.
feel about the fact that people here want
he
you
looks
out?
different. He's different.
Are you okay with that?
I'm here to debate you, not debate
He's
them.
actually kind of
I mean,
similar.
you're all on the same side. You're
Who's
part of
this
one
guy?
group.
No.
You've been clapping each other.
No, I mean, there are conservatives here, there are far-right people here, there are Republicans
But how
here.
do you feel about that guy wanting me and you to leave?
But, let's
I'm just wondering. This is the topic of immigration.
It's not
how
about
do you feel about the guy?
It's not about my feelings towards them.
Okay.
It's about staying on this topic.
Okay.
And
Immigrants are good for America, yeah. You and me, we're good for America. And the guy over there.
They're clapping for him. Yes, don't engage with us being xenophobic and racist. Let's just stay on the topic, and then they all clap for that.
Wants us to leave. So I'm just wondering how you feel about that.
So I believe that there has to be strict immigration laws.
Okay.
We have to make sure that the people are coming here have the good intent of the United States in mind.
That's not my claim, but okay.
Okay, and then this guy's like, this guy's the classic, oh, well, I'm against immigrants, but as long as they go through the legal ways of doing it, and I'm going to define the legal pathways of doing it as basically being a conservative freak, then I'm fine with immigrants basically being like, oh, well, the good ones can stay, and the other people in the room are just saying, no, the good ones can't stay. The good ones have to leave too. All right, so we'll skip through him. He was all style, no substance.
I'm an American. To go back to the control or some healing, it's a game.
Right,
We don't care. Religious or ethnic.
These timestamps suck, bro. All right, here we go. Where did Mehdi actually say his claim for Donald Trump here? For Donald Trump's Gaza genocide. I do want to. So immigrants are good for America. Just going to skip around a little bit. Okay, here we go.
Claim.
Bro, who did this timestamp? Jubilee, get on it. You're off by 2 minutes.
All right, that's time. Please return to your seat.
Thank you. Nice to meet you,
Great
Cyrus.
pleasure.
Good. My final claim is that Donald Trump's plan for Gaza is ethnic cleansing. Hey, how are you?
Sarah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You too. So why do you say this is Donald Trump's plan? Why do you think that?
I mean, he says it's his plan. Have you seen his plan?
When
Have you
did
heard
he
his plan?
say it?
He said it standing next to Benjamin Netanyahu in January, February. He said it on Fox News in an interview on Fox. He said it on Air Force One when he was chatting to reporters.
Word for word, what's an example of what he said?
All right, let's just look this up really quick since we have the power of the internet. Donald Trump, Gaza plan. So Trump touts Freedom Zone plan for Gaza while in Qatar. Trump restates plan for U.S. takeover of Gaza. Okay, let's see if we can find a clip here.
Hello and welcome to BBC News. Donald Trump
Where's
has
Trumpy?
doubled down on his plan for the United States to
who are worried about this, for people in for question about who has solutions.
for an urgent Arab summit. Tell me more about that and whether that's likely to happen.
And Gaza would be rebuilt, not using American money. Palestinians would be resettled elsewhere. But it is confusing because, bear in mind as well that Donald Trump has sold himself to his.
Where did he actually say the plan here? Trump calls Gaza incredible real estate. Trump's plan didn't make Gaza Riviera of Middle East. I just want to see if we can find a quote from Trump.
Trump wants to take over Gaza and turn it into what he calls the Riviera.
In another shocking
job with it too.
Trump shocked the world with his comment that the United States will take control of the Gaza Strip to rebuild it from scratch.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
In another shocking
Unlimited number of jobs and housing.
I'd like to see Egypt, Jordan. I'd like to see.
And Egypt.
Yeah, I would like to see Jordan. I'd like to see Egypt take some look. The Gaza thing has not worked. It's never worked.
I just can't get over how disgusting Donald Trump is. He's such a gross little worm of a human.
And I feel very differently about Gaza than a lot of people. I think they should get a good, fresh, beautiful piece of land.
U.S. Secretary of
He said they're going to get a good, fresh piece of land.
Never worked. And I feel very differently about Gaza than a lot of people. I think they should get a good, fresh, beautiful piece of land.
Bro, take out your dentures, you old fuck. Fucking grossly slurring your words. Yes, so he's actively advocated for buying Gaza, rebuilding it, and relocating everyone from Gaza to Egypt or Jordan to get a good, fresh piece of land. Holy shit.
Word for word, he said, for example, we're going to clean out the Gaza Strip. He said they're going to leave. We're going to take control of it. He says, we'll own it. I would own it. He says, I'm not sure under international law how he can own a foreign piece of land. And when he was asked on Fox News, the people, the Palestinians who are being forced to leave, would they be able to come back? He said, no, they wouldn't. That is the literal definition of ethnic cleansing, according to a UN definition of ethnic cleansing.
Why do you think that Trump is saying this? Do you think that he has some personal interest?
Immediately, it's not that they can actually contend with what Mehdi Hasan's putting out there, is that they have to justify it now. Oh, Donald Trump's pro-crime, but I'm in favor of that crime too. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, he's against the Constitution, but I'm against the parts of the Constitution that he's against too. Oh, he is doing ethnic cleansing in Gaza, but I'm in favor of that too.
Interest in cleansing Gaza, or do you think there might be some special interest group or perhaps religious or ethnic group that's, that maybe he received money from them and that's the whole reason why
what is she talking about?
He wants to cleanse Gaza, or why do you think that is?
I don't do Donald Trump's motivations. I really don't care. My claim is that what he's doing is ethnic cleansing.
Well,
do you agree with that?
I would actually, probably agree, but I'm just...
You agree that it's ethnic cleansing? You agree with...
Literally just concede on every single point. The only thing they didn't concede on is that immigrants are good for America.
No, I don't agree with it, but I agree that's probably his plan. But I'm trying to figure out, why do you think that is? Because Donald Trump's a white man. He identifies as Christian. I'm not sure if he really is. Well,
is she going to say that the Jews are causing him to do ethnic cleansing? Are we going to get some more anti-Semitism in here?
what interest does he have in preserving a Jewish ethnostate?
Yeah, she is going to say that. I was so confused about where she's going, but then I remembered that they're all anti-Semitic. And so, of course, it's the shadowy cabal of Jews that are forcing Donald Trump to do the ethnic cleansing. Oh my God, dude. She's not even saying that it's a good thing. It's that his hand is being forced by the devious Netanyahu. Holy shit.
Why would he have that?
It's a good question. You'd have to ask Donald Trump that question. I've got multiple views. I'm sure you have many views. I'm not sure I like where you're going with your views, but
Mehdi can see it coming too.
I think Donald Trump is definitely someone who's got financial...
It's actually just a game for these freaks. Like, they're just like, yes, I'm anti-Semitic. Let's play the game of how long it takes you to realize that I'm an anti-Semitic demon.
Interests in ethnic cleansing. He's got political interests. He loves the evangelical voters he get. A lot of Christian evangelicals like to support Israel because they think Jesus will come back if all the Jews are gathered in one place with no Palestinians. I think he's going to make money, he thinks, from beachfront property with Jared Kushner. He said something similar in the past.
You think that's the real reason?
I think there's multiple reasons, yeah. I think financial, geopolitical, ideological, evangelical. I don't really care. My claim is that what he's doing is ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing is a war crime according to the Fourth Geneva Convention.
Yeah, I agree.
It's against international law under the Rome Statute. So we shouldn't be part of that. The United States should not be supporting Donald Trump's plan for ethnic cleansing.
I agree.
Good.
What do you think? What do you think should be done instead with the Israel-Gaza situation? I'm not sure what your stance is on this.
I would like to see a ceasefire in Gaza.
Two-state
I would like to see. I don't really get into debates about what solutions. I would like to see an end to the killing. I would like to see Gaza.
Honestly, this is the perfect tack to take. At this current moment, it does not matter if you are in favor of a two-state or one-state solution. All that matters is that you focus on ending the genocide. And if we're talking about people like Ethan Klein, he gets fixated on people like Hasan that say, oh, well, I think a one-state solution is better. He'll get fixated on that and be like, well, I'm in favor of a two-state solution, but you guys criticize me as saying that, I'm not pure enough. No, Ethan, you get criticized because you don't focus on ending the genocide. And so with people like this little fascist Canadian that's talking to Mehdi Hasan, will also fixate on like two-state or one-state. And then they'll also be like, oh, well, like, I think that Donald Trump is in favor of ethnic cleansing, but it's the Jews that are forcing him to do it. She's also not focused on ending the genocide. She'll say it's a bad thing, but she's focused on criticizing Israel as being a Jewish ethnostate or a Jewish state that is controlling America. That's the criticism. Not that they're doing genocide, but that they're controlling America.
Have freedom. I would like to see the Palestinians in Gaza somehow get their land back. 80% of Gaza right now is under Israeli military control or displacement. I would like to see freedom for the Palestinian people. I'm an American. To go back to the core of this show, I support American values. One person, one vote, free speech.
It really is a religious and ethnic battle.
It is not a religious battle.
Well, yes.
No, it's not.
That is what it's obviously between Jews.
And she can't say that it's a imperial colonialist endeavor by America and by the West, because if she says that defeats her point that it's actually the Jews controlling America and forcing them to back them up. In her worldview, it has to be a religious battle between Jews and Muslims, and it's the devious Jews that are controlling America, forcing them to back up Israel, right? That's what's happening in her mind. And so once again, she sees it as like a battle of equal footing. It's the Jews versus the Muslims, but the Jews are also roping America into it, and that can't be stand for. That can't happen in her view.
Jews and Muslims both want control of the Holy Land.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
What else? What other?
Actually, the founders of Israel were secular. They were not religious, actually. And I think some religious Jews, like Bezalel Smotrich, who's the Israeli government minister,
it doesn't really matter.
Is a religious fanatic.
My point is,
the core of the conflict is over land. It's colonial. It's historic. It is not about religion.
Colonialism is for a reason.
The people who want to steal the land want everyone to believe it's religious.
My point is, why are we sitting here? Why are we sitting here? It's like a false dichotomy where we have to argue, like, do Jews get Israel? Do Muslims get Israel? Why are we?
I've never brought up anyone's religion.
How many of us?
I didn't bring up anyone's religion.
How many of us here are Christians?
I didn't bring up anyone's religion.
Trying to pick sides between Jews and Muslims taking over Israel. Like, don't you think that?
Hold on. First of all, I didn't bring up.
Holy shit, man. Like, once again, extremely justified in what I was saying, that in her mind it's just like a religious war between Jews and Muslims on equal footing. She doesn't actually care about the genocide. All she cares about is that she feels like Jews are controlling the world and controlling America. Okay, let's skip to this little piggy rat boy.
What's your definition of cut ties?
Like, stop funding them, stop being their military arm?
Yes, okay, I'm on record saying that. That was an easier debate. Whoa. Welcome back, Richie. You really want to be here?
First of all, I really thought that, obviously,
where we started, where it ended up. There's a lot of aggression. I can see in your eyes there's a level of exhaustion.
Holy fuck, dude. Stop trying to be this above it all armchair psychologist and just get to the fucking point.
From being here. This is where my empathy comes in. Where it doesn't is, when you have a room full of people that do agree with you, we have this opportunity to come together.
Oh my god, the fake pleas to come together and hold hands. Oh, well, we have the Cenk Uyghur tactic. That's what he's doing. Oh, well, we agree on so much. Why can't we just all get along? Well, maybe because you're a fucking freak that advocates that we're past the point of law and order, and the person with the most guns, they make the laws. Maybe because of that. Maybe because of what you advocate for. Now he's like, I know there's a lot of passion in this room, but we should all try to come together and find where we agree. No, fuck off, dude. Fuck off. We agree because we both breathe oxygen? Is that what we agree on? Fuck off. I don't need your agreements.
You're kind of mocking people when they do. So you mocked Sarah a little bit when you guys clearly had a common interest and goal to reach.
Because she's a fucking anti-Semitic freak, dude. And he knows she doesn't actually believe in any of these things. And when he gets someone to agree on wanting to raise the minimum wage or agree on wanting to cut off support of Israel, he knows that's not what they actually care about. That's not what they're going to advocate for. All they care about is giving the appearance of these things that are actually popular positions, but what they're advocating for is a fucking white ethnostate in America and being anti-Semitic and like kicking Jews out of America. That's what they're an advocate for. Fuck off with this disingenuous. You seemed a little sarcastic when you were agreeing with Sarah about wanting to cut off aid to Israel. Yes, because she doesn't give a fuck about that.
So I can tell you're agitated. I want to bring that all down, please.
I'm guessing.
I'm done with this guy. Little rat boy can go back into Ron Weasley's pants. Oh my god, it's the same people. It's the same people over and over. Demon guy from Demon Slayer, frat bow freak. Okay, let's just skip to this person. This one's actually new. Jubilee sucks, man. Come on, get their timestamps correctly.
Oh, wow. That's 3 people so far. Let's keep counting.
Wait, what happened?
Happens is you take all of these progressives, you go out there and LARP in the street, and then everyone here who's conservative, they're going to vote for the pro-war candidate because they don't want to be associated with all the liberals.
You're forced to vote for pro-war people. Poor
It's either that or get replaced in my country. What do you want me to do?
Oh, you and your replacement bullshit.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
He said the line. Okay, buddy, Hasan.
Oh, wow. That's 3 people so far. Let's keep counting.
We should be nicer to you, otherwise you'll deport us. What a great argument. This is the free speech debate camp. It's not your country, my friend. It's our country, whether you like it or not. I thought Kai was...
I wanted him to get the Jehovah's Witness, the guy that's in the suit.
He smiled, he laughed, he did it. We disagreed. He did it in... I felt like it was good faith. Let's see.
I appreciate it, Mehdi.
He seemed to be in good faith. He seems kind of smart. And, he's one of the few people who doesn't want to...
What did he argue with Mehdi on? Because I think I skipped it.
Well, or maybe not. We're going to find out.
My claim is we should get rid of birthright citizenship.
Why do you want to get rid of birthright citizenship, and how, by the way? Because it's in the Constitution. I'm so glad you brought this up.
Yes.
Because it was one of my...
The 14th.
14th. I mentioned it to a bunch of your friends, and nobody wanted to engage in the 14th.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 14th Amendment,
Exactly.
the Citizenship Clause, which says that if you're born here...
So he argued with Mehdi about defying the Constitution, which, once again, birthright citizenship is in the Constitution, so let's see how he argues against this. Damn, there are some characters on here I'd love to see. Maybe I'll go through this on a live stream and just watch the rest of it. I can't. It's Jubilee. Fuck.
Citizen of the United States.
Yes. I chose this because it's an extension of the original debate and the immigration debate.
Okay.
I think birthright citizenship, first of all, when it was originally argued, among the people who were actually voting on the clause, right? it was argued that the birthright citizenship was not automatically extended to everybody who was just born here. And we have a long history of that as well, for example, with the Native Americans, who had particular laws that applied solely to them. What I think we're seeing in this country is not everybody is so similarly under the jurisdiction thereof of the United States, right? And by allowing for birthright citizenship and not interpreting the Constitution as we're legally allowed to and restrict, the automatic citizenship of anybody who's born here, we actually remove the issue, for example, of family separation, because there is no incentive of a family to come over to this country illegally and then have a child, which is contributing to the awful situation we have in America of.
One more way to get rid of family separation is to make the documentation process of people trying to become a citizen in this country way faster and way easier for people to do, basically more accessible. That'd be a way easier process to basically have someone that can do paperwork rather than hiring 5 to 10 goons and have a detention facility and planes that have deportation missions that they go on. Maybe that would be an easier way of dealing with family separation than fucking getting rid of birthright citizenship.
By allowing for birthright citizenship and not interpreting the Constitution as we're legally allowed to, and for example, child, which is contributing to the awful situation we have in America of breaking up families. This is not something that I imagine you or
also another false plea for compassion from a conservative here. Love to see it.
I agree with.
No.
The issue is birthright citizenship has incentivized that.
So even if I were to concede that in some cases birthright citizenship has incentivized that, that I don't like the phrase anchor babies, but I'm not naive enough to pretend that there are not immigrants who come here and time the pregnancy in order to get. Of course, you and I can agree on that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you then rip up a constitutional principle that goes back centuries, goes back before the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment came about, I think, in 1868, if memory serves me correctly. But the principle underlying it is actually from my other country, the UK, ancient English common law, right? So this was always the case. The 14th Amendment, as you know, because you seem well read, came along and codified what was already a principle in American and English law, that if you're born in the country, you are a citizen. Now, you mentioned the point about jurisdiction. There is that little bit in there where it says subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That in the debate, if you go back and read the debate that the senators had at the time, they were very explicit that that was to do with foreign ministers and foreign ambassadors. Diplomats living in embassies, their kids shouldn't be citizens. Obviously, they're here on their own. The Argentine embassy in DC is Argentine soil. So we accept all that.
Absolutamente, amigo.
But when they were asked about Chinese immigrants, Senator Trumbull, who was, I think, the chair of the Judiciary Committee back in the 1860s during this debate, he said at the time, Chinese immigrants' children, they're citizens. In fact, 1898, as you well know, we get Wong Kim Ark, Supreme Court case, Wong Kim Ark versus the United States. And the Supreme Court says, yes, even the child of undocumented Chinese immigrants is an American citizen. So this is a principle going back centuries. So while I can agree with you that there are cases that abuse the 14th Amendment,
yeah, and I would say that going to America specifically to have a child is not an abuse of the 14th Amendment. That's a feature of the 14th Amendment.
There are issues of family separation. I'm not going to rip up a constitutional principle that goes back centuries and is backed by a 27-year-old Supreme Court precedent because Donald Trump is looking for ways to cut the number of brown and black people in the United States.
If you don't mind me interrupting, this is where I think it's important as well to go back to what we talked about with the Constitution. When we're analyzing, and admittedly, I'm not as interested in the legal argument.
I think Mehdi should have just argued in favor of having birthright citizenship rather than arguing for the proceduralism of all of the historical context and precedent of birthright citizenship. Obviously, the proceduralism that comes into play when we're talking about the efficacy of birthright citizenship and how practical it is to just have a rule where if you're born in this country, you're a member of this country. That's a very practical rule. It makes everything easier. And it's also more practical. It's more easier to keep that rule in place rather than rip up, as Mehdi said, hundreds of years of historical precedents just because Donald Trump wants to get someone focused on talking about this rather than his associations with a billionaire pedophile.
obviously many ways to interpret the Constitution. But I don't think, especially among conservatives, that it is positive to use the Constitution to dismantle it. When we analyze the original context, like you were saying, in the late 19th century, our immigration law was absolutely different, including, in respect with the Irish and Chinese immigrants that were coming over. It was absolutely different.
We had open borders, my friend. Some people in this room would hate it. We had open borders for half of American history.
Well, that I don't think that's very true.
It's 100% true.
Well, hold on. If you're comparing the open borders, which I don't concede to, but if you're comparing the open borders prior to like 1910 and prior to the Hart-Celler Act, and you look at the amount of immigration and who was coming over.
Nice deflection. Amount is irrelevant. We did have an open border.
It is absolutely relevant.
Why?
Because the Constitution, like the founding fathers.
Hold on, your argument is.
Yeah, so as Mehdi's about to say, his argument is that, oh, well, we didn't have open borders, but like to the extent that we did, because we did have open borders, there weren't as many immigrants coming through. Which it is irrelevant. We did have open borders. You can talk about, like, at the end of the day, he just doesn't want brown people to be in this country. So, like, when it's Ireland and Italy sending people over and people coming from those countries, he's fine with it. But if it's from the global south, then he's going to be against it.
We had open borders, but there were fewer immigrants.
I was about to answer.
Okay.
It's important to analyze the context wherein these laws and parts of the Constitution arise. The original founding fathers said the Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people and is wholly inadequate to the government of any other, which means the people that wrote this document understood that it would not be able to properly...
Super secular people, but let's just be clear on that.
Oh, no, that's not true. They were deists.
A lot of them were super
No,
secular.
the majority were deists.
But they were secular. Secular doesn't mean atheist. You know what that means.
I understand that, but deist doesn't mean secular or atheist. It means they believe in a God, but not a God that's particularly present.
I didn't say anything about whether they're deist or theist. I said they're secular.
Okay, but secular
means you separate church and state.
Okay, well, let's talk. We could even talk about that. That's a perfect example.
You're going to run out of your own time making your argument, which you haven't made so far.
I understand, but the separation of church and state is now completely differently understood than originally proposed. Thomas Jefferson, who talks about the wall of separation, which doesn't even exist in the Constitution.
This is a boring conversation. They've just evolved from talking about birthright citizenship to now talking about whether the Constitution was supposed to be secular or not. So he's just going to say that, oh, well, they didn't actually mean a separation of church and state when they wrote that in the Constitution, right? We understand that in a different way now than from what they meant it. So we're going to have to go back to the original meaning of a separation of church and state.
Constitution understood it in a different
Supreme
way.
Court precedent, as you well know.
Yeah, sure, but the precedent of the last 100 years, wherein the country has been completely different from its founding, should not overrule the original intent of the people who wrote the document.
Yeah, so now he's advocating for like, oh, well, like originally they meant that, church was just a separate building from the government building, but like they were still able to influence the government building. We need to go back to the original interpretation of the Constitution, the original meaning. We can't override the original meaning. But then when we talk about birthright citizenship, well, those people, that was a different context back then. We're in a completely different paradigm today. And so we need to change our laws to address this new shift that we found ourselves in. It is completely ridiculous, literally changing from one position to the next in the blink of an eye with no consistency whatsoever. It's like, I like church and I hate brown people, and I'm going to advocate for what in any kind of logical reasoning I can come up with, even if it is self-contradictory from one moment to the next.
You and I are both siding, which means.
But I'm not locked into what the people who wrote that. We've had amendments to the Constitution. You know that, right?
I understand that. Okay. And this is our fundamental disagreement: is that I don't believe.
You think you can read the minds of people in the 1770s?
That's not true.
I'm stuck.
I just believe this country ought to be more like the country we originally had, and I don't think
that's your opinion. You're entitled to it.
I understand that,
but there's a factual basis to it.
Well, let me try to see what you believe.
Okay.
If we are voting on these constitutional amendments, if we are interpreting them, and our interpretation becomes absolutely, let's say, a 180 from what the original intent of the authors of that document is, are you in favor of that?
I guess it depends on the issue.
Okay, I would say no matter what.
So, for example, take the Second Amendment, which we kind of danced around. It's not been come up here and there.
Yeah.
You know, the debate about the Second Amendment is the fundamental debate is one side says it's unlimited, and the other side says no. What they meant was the militias.
Yeah.
They didn't, and they had muskets. They didn't mean AR-15s, right? So we can have that endless debate, which I really don't care for about that. But to come back to your point about the constitutional principles, the 14th Amendment comes along in the 1860s, so it's pretty old. It's not as old as America, but it comes along, and it's been around for 150 years. So if you want to get away with it,
it was
The
around
burden is
before
on you.
150 million Americans.
And I'm saying it was around before the United States was even created. It's part of ancient English common law. If you're born in a place, you're a citizen of that place, unless you're the child of a foreign diplomat or on a Native American reservation.
English common law.
Like, look, we can let this play out, but like, if he's going to say, well, there's more people now, so that should negate the 14th Amendment, that should negate birthright citizenship. No, it shouldn't. The argument that there's more people now is an argument for birthright citizenship. It makes everything easier. It makes the documentation process easier. Like, the main issue that people have with immigration is that they're not documented, right? Because that's the line. That's not their actual main issue, but that's what they always say. They always say, well, they're not documented immigrants, and like, if you come here the right way, then you're good. Well, the right way takes so long to do because it's a overcomplicated process. If we simplified it by having essentially open borders, and if you just came in, gave your name, and then they gave you your papers like a week later, you got it in the mail or something, that'd be way easier. That would solve their apparent issue with immigration. But just like everything else, Republicans can't actually argue against things on the basis of they can't argue against things on the basis of like their effectiveness, their morality, their efficacy. So they just have to basically degrade the actual process themselves, trying to make schools worse, trying to make the process of being a documented immigrant more tedious and time consuming and difficult to happen. And then, like, also healthcare, degrade healthcare in this country that the government offers. And then when they look and they say, well, the thing we degraded isn't functioning that well, so we should get rid of it. That's exactly what this person is arguing for. These people, they say that immigration into this country is broken because it takes so long and people aren't showing up to their documentation hearings. And they're not showing up because ICE is kidnapping them. That's why they're not showing up. So we should just like get rid of it altogether and stop immigrants from coming here. The real issue is they fucking hate poor people. They hate brown people. They want them to die. They don't want them to be a part of their country. And that's why they advocate for the breaking down of these systems, because they don't want them there, but they have to advocate for this in an insidious way and try to slowly break down systems of social welfare in this country, rather than just coming right out and saying, I want brown people to get deported. I want brown people to not be able to become a citizen here. I don't want poor people to get educated. I don't want them to get health care or social security. So we're going to degrade all of these public infrastructure welfare systems that we've developed. It's just, I'm so sick of the cowardice from these fucks. Even the Nazis are like, well, I don't like being called a Nazi, and I don't think that the Jews were given a fair shake by the Nazis. You're a Nazi. You accepted it. Stop trying to defend yourself and be like, oh, well, Franco was just killing people that were rapists. No, dude, he was told his soldiers to do gang rapes. Oh my God. You're a monster. Just own up to it.
Did not exist simultaneously as millions of people coming across the border in a year.
Just to get to principles, your argument is numbers change everything. Because we've got so many more people.
Not solely, but absolutely.
Okay.
The demographics of your immigration absolutely change it.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
The demographics. I thought we were talking about numbers here, buddy.
And if you got rid of the 14th Amendment, what would be in its place?
I think a citizenship test would be fantastic.
What age?
I wish.
What age?
I think we could administer it in high school.
To everyone?
Sure.
Or just the immigrants?
No, everybody.
And then if you fail it, you denaturalize white American native born?
Maybe you can't get a government job.
Denaturalize that dude?
I think there's plenty of benefits that the government offers people that you should not be able to
There's a perfect cut to that guy. The stupidest fucking look on his face.
perceive.
I'll tell you this, right? This might sound bad,
and I think
people care for me anyway. So let me say something you might not like.
Nobody would pass it.
If you have a high school immigration citizenship test for everyone,
I think people will take citizenship more seriously.
I'm guessing the immigrant kids are going to outperform the white kids, and you might actually end up denaturalizing some of the white kids, and then people here will be really upset.
And well, hold on. And I like to be consistent about this. That's possible. But what I think it would do is it would give everybody a larger sense of the importance of citizenship.
So you would say no one born in this country is a citizen? No one?
Automatically no. Automatically no.
Wow.
I think we could extend that. You know, people who have a heritage in the country
what
of
are
like...
they until they pass the test? Undocumented?
I suppose, yeah. They are not able to receive
get
government
taxed.
benefits. They're not able to receive government benefits. They're not able to apply for these jobs
But
that
their
are
parents are
offered.
citizens.
Okay, well, hold on. We're talking here about the way that we would implement it.
Yeah,
But
it's pretty important. If you're trying to get rid of the 14th Amendment, I'm going to ask about the practicalities of it.
And we're not.
Trump's doing
hold
it
on,
right
hold
now.
on. And I'm not going to be able to explain it to you in 10 minutes. But what I can explain to you is that right now in this country we have a crisis of people not
I don't accept that.
Hold on. We're not understanding what citizenship is. The way that you've referred to citizenship makes everybody who hasn't come to the United States an undocumented American citizen until the time they come over here.
That's how a lot of countries are, right? You know that birthright citizenship is operated by multiple democracies around the world. I know Trump lies and says, we're the only country that does it. He lies. That's not true. Multiple countries have
Do you think it
birthright
ought to be that
citizenship.
way? Do you think everybody
Yeah, I
in
think
the
that's-
world is an undocumented American?
So, hold on. Well, or undocumented Canadian, or undocumented Brit, right? Or undocumented.
Sure. Well, I'm an American, so I say America. But yeah, it
but
could be
I'm saying,
any place
right?
in
The
world.
principle is you immigrate. We have free
Do you
movement of
believe
people.
that?
I support free movement of people around the world.
But do you believe they're all
Are you Kim Jong Un? You think people should?
No, he does not. Yeah, I mean, he's a believer of an ethnostate. That's what all of these people are.
Only stay in one country and never leave and be blocked from leaving their country.
I think
that's
there's
a very illiberal
No,
and
hold on.
conservative position.
I think there's a big
libertarians
there's big
and right-wingers
room to
support
there's
freedom.
big room to move between being Kim Jong Un and saying that
Not
it means
really.
hold on
In practical
and-
terms,
hold on,
if
let
you
me finish.
accept-
I gave one side. I
Please.
want to give the other. There's a big room to move between being Kim Jong Un and saying that everybody in the world is an American. They're just not on our soil yet. I think
I mean,
being
that's
an
a
American
ridiculous
citizen,
statement, right? Because everyone in the world is not heading for the United States of
Yes,
America.
yeah, but
in fact,
what-
right now,
but
numbers
the-
of people coming in are dropping a lot.
But the idea that you are supporting is that the moment you come to this soil and that you're born here, you
Yes.
become an American. And
So
I
I'm
think
not
The thing he's supporting is that people can move freely throughout the world. Like, the idea that someone becomes an American or not is irrelevant. If you're in America, you're subjected to American laws. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to come to America if you don't have the citizenship of America, or if you don't go through like this overcomplicated arbitrary documentation process.
Saying at the moment you come to the soil, you become an American. I didn't. I had to do the test. Right?
Okay.
I had to do the naturalization process, which is guaranteed by the 14th Amendment.
But
the
I
14th
think-
Amendment also says if you're born here, then you automatically get it. And I'm not
And
saying,
I think the
I'm not
problem we
saying it's a
have,
hill I'm going to die on.
the
right?
problem we have
All
is
I'm saying to you
we
guys,
don't
what do you do
appreciate
instead?
we don't appreciate citizenship. The problem is that when you talk about immigration like
Oh,
we
we
did
can
before,
agree on that.
when we talked about
Yeah, we
everything
can
before,
agree on
what
that.
were we talking about? We were talking about products. We weren't talking about practices or
Kai-
perceptions, which is really what
But can I agree
immigration
with
is
you?
about.
Can I agree with you? We don't in this country value citizenship enough.
I agree.
I think we should encourage people to have more civics lessons in schools, understand American history and Constitution much more. Here's what's the irony is, I'm sitting in a room today where I've met a bunch of people claiming to be Native Americans who hate everything America stood for centuries.
I think they stand much closer to the America that we originally had, and I think
don't
that's
think
a big
any of you lived
disagreement.
there or had any clue what that was like. And
But
there were a lot of-
you've
and there were a
agreed
lot
to
of horrible
dismantling
things
it.
about that America.
But you've agreed to dismantling that America as long as it's legal.
You have. You're the person who came here and made your argument.
I'm a
taking
constitutional
away, Taking
originalist.
away an amendment of the Constitution. I didn't. I said keep the Second Amendment.
I'm an originalist. I think we should interpret it the way it was probably originally interpreted.
Yeah, except for the 14th Amendment, right? He's all in favor of having the fucking Constitution be honored for the original interpretation, but for the amendments, then we can throw that out the window.
All right, guys, that's time.
Nice to debate with you, Kite. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not really much value in arguing this shit. What are the comments saying? Comments. It's never been easier to understand the rise of Nazism in 1930s Germany. You can see why the Department of Education is the first target. I'm a fascist. Conservatives start clapping. As a German, this is hard to watch. This episode feels like the beginning of something really bad. 5 years ago, these people wouldn't admit they were bigoted. Now they own it. Well, that's true. So, like, I can talk about how Jubilee is platforming these people. And the thing is, none of these people are normal people. All of these freaks are, they'll work in conservative media. I mean, there's like at least 2 people here that have been on multiple Jubilee videos in the past. And people that are comfortable in calling themselves Nazis don't have to show up at work the next day and have their coworkers at the fucking like 7-Eleven or I don't know, at like the office job where they sell paper clips. Be like, hey, you're a Nazi? What the fuck? What the fuck, dude? Like, look, there's definitely a rise in people online being more comfortable in calling themselves a theocratic fascist, a Nazi. I mean, you had Fox News the other day do the whole thing where they did a bit on saying, we're going to reclaim the word Nazi. What up, my Nazi? That's what they were doing, basically, like making a joke about the N-word. So there is definitely a resurgence of people being more openly proud to be called a Nazi. However, once again, Jubilee is doing a disservice by making it seem like it's a bigger portion of the population than it really is. That being said, there is a rise in this. I'm happy to see the comments are like totally pro Mehdi. I just don't know how much value there is in really like debating these people rather than just mocking them and making fun of them. So anyway, guys, let me know what you thought down below, and let's talk about this later. See ya.